slides and the rest is going to be demo. I have no idea whether this is going to complete 20 minutes, so let's see how it goes. So I'm going to talk about a piece of work we're doing at York, where we are basically putting together a preservation pipeline where we, for research data, so we get metadata out of our, create our pure system, and then we want to deposit data into Archivematica for archiving and run lots of archive tasks across it, and then we want to use our Hydra repository to provide access to the access copy. So what I've done is I've built lightweight and slightly dodgy code-wise application that demonstrates this concept. So I'm going to walk through this. Actually, I'm going to go back to my presentation for a moment. So just to explain, so this is the diagram of what we're trying to do. So we want to have a research data catalogue where people can find data. That's going to be populated with metadata from the pure system. Access to the dissemination copy of the data set will be provided by the digital library run through the catalogue. And then the digital archive, which will have the archival copy of the data, will feed the dissemination package into the digital library. So this is the basic thing we want to do. So this is an application that I'm working on at the moment. It's very much a work in progress. But what this can do is it can pull metadata from the pure web services for all the data sets we've got. I've just got 4 in at the moment. The idea behind this interface is this is a kind of admin monitoring application for our internal library staff, so that they've got a view of what's going on with data. We don't at the moment plan to put data itself into Pure. We want to manage that data outside. So the idea is that once an academic has uploaded a piece of metadata into Pure, someone from the library will get in touch with them and give them an upload URL, which is. So they get a URL which will. I'm going to stop leaning on here. They'll get an upload URL which will take them to a simple deposit form. At the moment, this just asks for any extra information about the file depositing. At the moment, this is just a single file deposit because this is running on available boxes on my local machines. But obviously, in time, we're going to look at big packages of data that need to be uploaded, so give some more complexity to that. And probably think about using more sort of transferring around back-end storage of that rather than upload. Just to demonstrate the concept, that's an image. Oh, that's a really bad picture. So what happens at this stage is the person gives us the data, it's deposited, and we say thank you, you're done now. It is possible to someone to get more data back.
Can you use the microphone?
Oh, sorry, no, sorry. Is that okay?
Yes.
So at that point, what we've done now is we've created a Fedora object for the data set, and that includes just a very small amount of metadata out of Pure. If I run down here, so you see at the bottom, it says we've got an id deposit, but it's not been processed yet, so we've got a Fedora object with that ID that's not gone through Archivematica yet. So the way we get things into Archivematica is we're making use of what's called the automation tools. This is a GitHub project from Artifactual, which gives you a script, a sort of simple script way of adding deposits into Archivematica. The nice thing about it is it allows you to run your own scripts within that process. So if you want to do things like extract metadata to add with the deposit before it goes into Archivematica, you can add these scripts and it will run them for you. So the way this is working on here is the sharing of file stuff. So I've put the data in a structured way into a particular folder, and Archivematica is monitoring that. In order for Archivematica to start doing the transfer, there's a Python script that runs at the moment. I'm going to run it manually, but the idea was this would be run as a cron task. It's got lots of flags for different information, so API keys and URLs and things. If you see there's a depth flag, that means you have to go down 2 directories to pick the data up. So it's quite neat, it's quite a lot to do with this. So That's now gone into Archivematica. So the next thing I will show you is the Archivematica dashboard. So you can see that if anyone who's familiar with Archivematica, normally when you make a deposit you have to go and manually approve that deposit. So we've skipped that step here and it's already processing. It's running through its normal set of steps. Every step, for our workflow for research data, we don't want any manual steps because a lot of the time the file formats that we're receiving will be quite obscure and we won't have, we won't want to intervene in any way. We just want to get it secure and sort of packaged up in our archival store. So that's now going to run through. It'll run through the transfer stage and then it'll run through the ingest stage. This bit's a bit boring. But if I go back to here, I can sort of do a bit of here's one I made earlier. So if you look at the others, so the top two are already complete, but this third one here that says uploaded, but it's got no dissemination packages in the final column. What we decided to do at York is, because data might be very big and it might also never get used by anyone, we didn't want to automatically be creating access copies. What we want to do is only create an access copy when someone wants one. So the default pipeline in Archivematica is to do what's called normalized preservation. So it'll create a preservation package and put it into a preservation store. It won't create any access copies. So the other half of this sort of application we're building, one half is getting the data into Archivematica, the other is pulling it out when someone wants it. So it works on the same principle as the deposit URL. There's also a request URL. So the user who finds the data in our data catalogue will see this a page something like this. It's slowly not nice when it's finished. This is just a demonstration. So we're basically going to say to them, yeah, you can have the data. We need to prepare it for you. Give us your email address and we'll contact you when it's done. So if I put my email address in there. Ordered properly, they go up and down every time I do anything. So now it's the bottom one. So now you can see it's created a dissemination package object. So inside Fedora we've created a dataset object and its members are an archival information package object and a dissemination package object. So we've created the dissemination package object in readiness for that happening inside Archivematica. And then there's a little approve link there which will call the Archivematica API and say, please re-ingest this and create me some access copies. Just to stop there for a moment, we'll go back to Archivematica and see whether that original transfer is finished. Almost. So what I'm going to do is I don't want to have two things running in Archivematica at once. It's kind of lonely powered box that might fall over. I'll just go back to my presentation and show sort of the diagram of the pieces of the puzzle that deliver what I was talking about earlier. So as I was saying, here is our canonical source of metadata about data sets. The application we're building is what we now call the Research Data York. So we get the data from the depositor into our Research Data York application. The metadata that we capture about that deposit process goes into the Fedora data store. We push all the metadata, including stuff we'll generate in that form. So we'll generate information about what license the person has selected. We'll generate information that they might supply during the upload process around ethical concerns, restrictions, that kind of thing. So we'll gather what we call submission documentation and package that up when we send that across. So all that data will go across into a folder that the automation tools will monitor. Automation tools will say, okay, there's a deposit there, I'll deal with it, and it will push it into Archivematica and automatically that goes into its CRP store. So that's the transfer process. I hope this is making sense. Okay, we're getting close now. We're still processing the metadata. I'm going to take a risk and approve the reingest. So the moment there are, this was meant to be a fully automated demo and it isn't, because at the moment there are three steps that I have to do sort of semi-manually, and the reason for that is because I'm running the current stable release of Archivematica, and all the features I need are there in development branches, but none of them are all in the same development branch, so I can't deliver the full automated workflow, but I will be able to load in the project. So this approved link calls the Archivematica API, and that's the message you get back from Archivematica. So I know that now in Archivematica there'll be a re-ingest request. So go into here. A bit weird that that's going to be done. Just really. So for a re-ingest, this is the step I want to automate. So the automation tools at the moment automates this step for a transfer, but doesn't at the moment automate it for a re-ingest. So I can improve that. That will start now running through the re-ingest steps. This is to generate the dissemination package. I'm going to leave those going and go back to my application. I'll just talk through here's one I did earlier examples now. So the other step I can't do automatically at the moment is, given the identifier for an A, find out where its dissemination package is. Again, notice that that's coming. So the way I handle this is, once the dissemination package is created, we can pop the UUID for that dissemination package in here, click update, and my script will go off, get the data from the Archivematica dip store, generate the Fedora objects it needs, and give me a nice a set of related Fedora objects. Now, I've run up to the top here, I can actually show this. So where I showed that request URL earlier, this is not very attractive, but this is just for demonstration purposes. So what we have now, we've generated our dissemination package, we've got the data into Fedora, and we can now display it all. So what we get here is we get the METS file and the processing MCP from Archivematica. We wouldn't display those to the end user, but I just thought I'd demonstrate that they're all there in Fedora. And the middle one here, coming straight out of Fedora, it's really exciting. Quickly. So go back. So that's kind of it. So we are now working through making this a more fully fledged application. We talked to our research data team, and they've got lots of ideas of what other things they might want in here. The big challenges we've got, the big thing I think I need to think about is, I've just built this with a single file at the moment, so what do I do if it's a folder with a million files and structured directories? Am I going to create a million Fedora objects for that? Probably not. I'll probably think about doing something like that using Magit or something. The other things that I need to think about are, that's the biggest one really. Also for, in UK research data management terms, we need to know the date of last access, because it's a under requirement that we keep the data for 10 years from the date of last access. So I'm going to do some work to track downloads basically, and probably again using Fedora objects. We'll be able to calculate the date of last access in this column. And then put some automatic flags in for the research data team, so there'd be maybe the red button that says still with this when the date of last access passes 10 years. There'll be a few other things they want to do in here, but there'll be a series of sort of buttons and stages that can go through. We'll see how this is doing. No, they're still going. No, I think it's got stuff and it's about to fall over. Yeah, can't cope. But I promise you it does work. So it's really quite nice to see Archivematica, which I think a lot of people, when they first install it, it's out of the box, it comes with most of its steps unautomated, and you think, oh, that's loads of work, manual work to do all these steps and make all these decisions. But you can pre-make all those decisions, generate the processing configuration that you want, and then fully automate it using what is really quite a simple Python scripts. I could have done all of the calling of the Archivematica APIs in the application I've been building, but I wanted to use the automation tools because I figured that some of those sorts of things I'm doing there are quite common to the users, so it's worth sharing back. Stuff like rearranging the structure of the folder into the set format that Archivematica will understand. So the way I've tried to divide it up is stuff that's really about what Archivematica needs. So I try and do that in the automation tools, and stuff that's really about what we need. I try and do that in the application I'm building. The step that I won't demonstrate because it won't work because it's not finished. There's also a Python scripting automation tools that I've written that will update status. So where you see my application, where it says uploaded, that's information that comes back from the Archivematica API. So if that was still in processing, I wouldn't be able to do this, but it would say processing, so we know it's not done yet. If it says complete, we know it's got through the transfer and ingest stages, but it's not yet gone into the LP store. Once it's uploaded, we know we're done, and at that point we delete the original folder of data that we get from our repository, because we're happy with the objectives and the changes. So that's basically all I wanted to show. I could probably cheat. So this is the Archivematica storage service. This bit sits at the back of Archivematica. This is a bit of a cheat because it's not the dissemination package for the object I've just put in. But what I can do is just show this stage. So if I take the dip for the UUID from Archivematica for a dip, click this, that will then go through and generate those. Yeah, it will create the Fedora objects that will update status, so then it's now saying it's been uploaded. And now go to the request URL, see files. You can see it's a different file. So that's what we're doing. And just on the final slide was the kind of little side, which is the data catalog side. So we don't yet have the data catalog, but we will have a data catalog when we go to find the data. That will be fed by that's data from Pure. It will access the data in our repository. Also, Fedora, the automation tool from Archivematica will just sit there looking after the preservation copies. Things I'd like to do, I'd like to investigate making that ape store Fedora full, and then we'll be able to do things like multiplicity checks across all the data. As a separate Fedora instance to one that holds access to public, quite neat to have preservation stores as we go forward. And just really scale it up to bigger data. We're going to implement Google Drive in the upload form, so